All right. I figured this class would be small. You start talking programming or scripting, and scares folks away a little bit. All right, so this is Google Scripting 101 or Google Scripts or Google Add-ons, whatever you want to call it. We're going to talk about all those different options. It is a short presentation, and then we're going to dive in and look at some other things. Did y'all just bring everybody from Gaston?
Just about.
I'm seeing a different person in each one that I know. So, all right, so Google Scripting, Google Add-ons is your way of being able to make your documents, spreadsheets, things along those lines work smarter for you. So there's several things that we're going to talk about that you're going to see that you may or may not know about to take advantage of to be able to do some different things. My email address is up on the board. I am recording today's session so that I can turn around and put it up on the TechFest page as well as on my site, the goo.gl. I'll have the videos posted along with the presentations later on today. So, but you do have access to view it at a later time if you want to. So Google Scripts are not used as widely now as they used to be. Okay, Google Scripts is where it started out, where you could create your own scripts or use some pre-built ones to being able to pull data, push data, doing a lot of different types of things with your Google documents. Now it's moved over into add-ons to where you can actually use these add-ons that third-party have created, most of which are free, some of which cost money. And we'll go in and look at those and talk about the different ones. Some of the ones that I use, the Google Scripts still, are the Form Emailer. Form Emailer is only available as a Google Script to you. The Formule is a Google add-on now. And we'll talk about some of those different types of things. And then also, depending upon how complex your formulas are, you can have those to be considered a script where it's pulling data from a lot of different sources. So what things will we use scripts or add-ons for? One of the biggest things is a mail merge. Pulling data from a Google form and sending emails off of it. Sending emails, or maybe using an add-on to populate a form. You can actually populate form data with an add-on rather than having to hand key the pieces of the puzzle in. Conference registrations. We're using it here with the Pitt County Schools Tech Fest. They're using some formulas and some add-ons to being able to do part of their registration process. Emailing of the form input, some lookups, things along those lines we can use it with. We can also use it to import data on a regular basis from a CSV file into a Google spreadsheet, some other areas along those lines. Now with your scripts, we can make them run automatically, or we can do it on a time-driven or manually run those different types of things. And we'll look at adding a script in and being able to do those different types of things as well. I will give you guys, if you're interested, some of the scripts that I use. I've got a cheat sheet that I use that I log some different ones on, things like that as well. There's some other things that I've used, some scripts that I've created and some that I've stolen from other areas. And I use that stolen, lightly, because these are all out there publicly available. It's not really stolen or anything like that. I'm a firm believer in take it, steal it, hack it, make it your own. Why recreate the wheel when it's already out there for you to use these different types of options? So one that I use, and I'm going to show you guys, is a double submission. Now, we've got a Google form that we give out to people, have them submit it. Well, then we want to be able to go in on the back side, bring the form back up, and edit it again. Inventory solutions. You've got an inventory database. Well, or maybe you don't have one and you need one. You can set up a Google form You go in, you fill out the form with the data, it comes back to a spreadsheet. Then, from the spreadsheet, we can have a form redo or something like that to where you click on it and it rebuilds the form with all the data so that then you can actually edit the information. It's now transferred from Classroom 103 to Classroom 105. You could go back into the form, change the numbers, hit submit, and then it updates the information on your spreadsheet. You can use that. I've used that in a lot of cases to being able to do those types of things. And it's a relatively short script to be able to add those different types of pieces. Anytime you're creating scripts, you want to make sure that you go in and add information to tell you what to do whenever you're updating these types of things. When you get the presentation from today, the double submission form, these are all linkable, so you can actually click on it and get access to it. So if I actually click on it, bring up my double submission document here. I want to bring that one up. Let's open it in my drive. I didn't have these preset to open. Come on. All right, you'll have access to these to be able to get them. And here, if I go into my tools,
welcome to our world.
It was popping along earlier, but I lost signal or something. I lost my connection, and then since then it's been a little sluggish. But I've got this recording and everything else too. So if I go to my script editor, not the form. You'll see this script. The script comes up, gives me some information. One of the key things with the double submission script is you've got to have your form app ID. It's got to know what form are you wanting me to rebuild. So this ID is always when you go to view a live form. You always have these unique IDs up in the top. Okay? So I've got 1PQL, yada, 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 yada. That is a unique ID that is on this in particular form. If I go over to my double submission, you'll see that UID is there for me to have. The spreadsheet where it's getting the information is form responses. So it's going back and listing that information. And then down through here, it's some information to go through, and it tells it what to pull up, what to pull back, and populate into your form. So then if I was to close that, you'll see that I could click on one of these, open it up, and it brings the data up to show me what I had already created in here. So maybe I want to change that to 1712. Hit continue. And this one was a double submission. I could say it is approved, submit. Now the information back on my spreadsheet gets updated to 1101, 1712. Yes, it's approved. Well, maybe I need to go back in there and modify it again. To say 1812. And it's still approved. And you can hit submit on that as many times as you want to. Using the double submission, it lets you know that it was also updated. So it's not a unique because somebody went back in and updated. The timestamp that you get is the latest version. Okay? So it was last updated at 1101. If we wanted to modify one of these others, we could. and now on the back end, it updates that line and lets us know. Now remember, revision history will have all of your previous versions, and then it will show these updated ones as well. So you still have a tracking of who the original submitter was, as well as the newly submitted versions. You have access to those as well. Close out of these here. So that's the double submission. So calendar creations, whoops. Google Forms. You've got laptop carts or checkout items inside of your schools. You create a Google Calendar, and you could allow folks to go in and add items to the calendar. Well, you got two people. One goes in, adds a calendar item. The next one goes in and says, I really want the cart during that time frame. They delete their event and add their own. If you allow multiple people to manage the Google Calendar, that you always run a possibility of that happening. The calendar creation script will actually take and push the information to a Google Calendar after it's come into a form. So they could go to a form and say they want to sign up for the laptop cart. And then it will basically, they hit submit. You could actually have it set up on an approval system to where only ones that have been approved get sent up to the Google Calendar, or you can have it automatically send it to a Google Calendar, whatever the case may be. I've got one that I work with, an organization that all of their rooms are done in that manner. People go in, they request access to a room through a Google form. They hit submit, an email goes to the person that approves or denies. They go to the spreadsheet and they say approved, denied. If they say approved, it pushes the event to the Google Calendar for them. So then it's viewable for anybody to go in and see that it's been added. You can do a lot of different types of things with that. And again, on this one, it's going to give you those types of options to being able to push it up to your calendar.
John?
Yes?
Sorry, question. If they don't go through the approval system and it just pushes to the calendar, if there's already somebody that has that room checked out, does it still allow like multiple people to have it checked out at the same time?
It will in that manner. That's where you've got somebody to approve or not approve and everything. Now, the way around that is with the calendars, you can use time slots and then grant people access to the calendar to be able to say, you know, the cart's available in 30-minute increments, and you go sign up for the 30 minutes that you want and everything. That's where, you know, having somebody approve or deny.
Does it push to a particular calendar or the individual that submits the form?
A particular calendar.
Okay, so it
and then
back to the original person.
Correct. And that'll fix itself in just a second. You can, it keeps doing that for some reason. This is the only projectors I've ever had a problem with. So you can have it set up to be like a whole bunch of different calendars, and once they hit submit and it's approved, it will push it to the proper calendar. So if it's laptop cart 1,
okay,
it'll push it to laptop cart 1's calendar versus laptop cart 2's calendar. And you can also have it send an invitation to the people. You can also do invitations via Google Calendars, so that it will add it to their personal calendar as well as the cart calendar or anything like that.
We do our lead system through a Google form. It's approved, not approved, but there's no way to, we were told, to have it do an automatic calendar invitation. So, or put it to a particular calendar. So in this case, maybe like a department calendar where we all know, we all have access to a department calendar, who's here and who's not. We may just kind of be.
So I have a lot of knowledge on your leave request system.
I'm sure you do.
And with that, I do have a beta version that I'm working on with the calendars for you guys. That will push it to a team calendar and being able to do that and everything. So yeah, I've got a beta version that I've been messing with for you guys with that. But the thing with you guys is it's so large.
Yeah.
And the things that the next stages, I was actually working on your stuff all weekend. The next stages is to build your professional leave to include the substitute request and everything else all into one area for a teacher. So right now for them, they've got a leave request system that when somebody wants to request leave, they go into a Google form. It says you're requesting military leave, annual leave, sick leave, anything like that. If you're requesting professional leave, then now it's going to give another category of, okay, you said you're doing professional leave. Are you going to need reimbursements? Estimate your reimbursements. Then if you need a substitute or no substitute. If you've got a substitute, who's going to pay for the substitute? And then it's a whole elaborate system to where it's you request it, and then it's an email that goes to a supervisor. They approve or deny. If it's out of state, then the superintendent gets an approval. It's a lot of approval systems within theirs. And then at the very end, once it's finally done and approved, the beta version is that it's added to a calendar for managers to view, team leaders to view, and everything like that. So there are options there. On a smaller scale, the calendar system works great to push events. Whenever you get to a really large scale, that's where I'm in the beta version with it. So,
is it difficult to troubleshoot the larger projects that are all in the cloud?
With the new version of Google Sheets, no. So the old version of Google Sheets, we couldn't bring multiple forms into one document. So you had to have scripts set up to pull data from different Google documents, set it up on time intervals and things like that. The new version, you've got an unlimited amount of cells, unlimited amount of time, and you can have 6 different Google Forms reporting their data back to one spreadsheet environment. And then you're just using formulas rather than scripts to go out and pull information. Yeah. When you had to do the old Google Sheets, you had to have the scripts, and then you got to set them up every 5 minutes to go out and get data, or 10 minutes. And then once you got above about 3,000 lines in it, it would really bog down, slowed down tremendously. And the new version, we've got one that's got 6,000 form submissions in it, and it's chugging along. So, menu items. So one of the things I've got with a school district is each school has their buses. Well, they got to keep up with their bus drivers, making sure they have their information up to date and things along those lines. Well, you can create menu items to go pull data from those other spreadsheets. So a Google script to go out and pull the data back to your document. You can pull data from other sheets back into yours that you want to have it pull. And you can automatically have it set up to go out and grab that data. And this one, I don't have a link to it. I can give you access if you want to those scripts and being able to have those different types of things as well. Getting data from other sheets. So this is just a little version that you can see. This will work for you. What we've done here is whenever you go out, ignore the top part, okay? Ignore that top part. This is the part you want to pay attention to. Function get data. What it will do is when you tell it to, it's going to go out and get data from another spreadsheet. Now, as long as you have access to that spreadsheet, you can pull the data from it. Now, here we're telling it our source data. Spreadsheet app, open that ID that I told you guys about, that special ID. And then we're telling it, where's the sheet? What's the sheet that I need to get data from? Yeah, this is actually from you guys, as you noticed. It's actually set up for their data, the script that I'm using. It's set up and goes out and grabs the data. Yeah, you see Chris Hall there. So it goes out, it says the source sheet, get the exported data, source values, source sheet, it's looking back up there, and it's telling it, I need you to pull A1 to Q. Pull that data, and then the reference sheet is where I want you to put it at. I want you to put it in the manager's data tab. So in their leave request system, it grabs all the data and drops it into a manager's tab for them to have a view access of. Then in the reference sheet, every time it runs that, I'm telling it to delete the data that was already there. I want you to get a fresh set of data. So I'm telling it to get the range A2 to T, I want you to empty that data. Clear content. Anything that's on that spreadsheet in the manager data, kill it. Wipe it out. Delete it. And then I want you to start here, and anywhere that you find C. Hall at Gaston, I want you to drop his data in this new spreadsheet. So then it will automatically drop the data into the new spreadsheet for them to have access to view his data only. Now, the script will run because the manager, or excuse me, the one that's running the script has access to the original document. Not just anybody can use it to go get the data. You have to have access to the original document that has it in order to get the data into yours. And then we're telling it down here at the reference sheet just to drop that data into our spreadsheet. The on open up here is just telling it when they open the spreadsheet, I want you to go run that data and get it for me. Yes, sir.
So what this is doing is, I'm thinking of something like principals have to fill out mass amounts of data, so they have to select their school. So instead of, and we need them to be able to see it, of course, so run this and not see other schools. So they do this saying, so where column B says Ashbrook High School, dump it into this data pool over here on this spreadsheet, and it's going to do that automatically. Is that what that's going to do?
Correct.
Okay.
So we got a Google spreadsheet.
All right.
Okay, we got one spreadsheet. Imagine we have 10 schools. Each school has a tab in that spreadsheet. Well, the problem is, in order to give somebody access to the document to edit their information, they have to be able to see everybody else's information. So I don't want them to see the other 9 schools' information. They only need to see their data. So if I create 10 different spreadsheets, give them access to their spreadsheet, and then what I can do is I can have a script that will go out and get each one of their data and bring it into a master document. So to where I have access to everybody's data to see it, but yet they only see their individual spreadsheets. Make sense?
Yeah, so what's the, hold on, I have something like that. I just wonder why you ran it as a script instead of a formula. Because I did something like that.
You used import range.
Yes. What's the difference between what you're running here and import range?
So, import range for this one here is because I got that filter in there.
Okay.
If that area has C. Hall in it, I want it to get only his data. Import range gets everything. Okay? You can attach other filters into it and everything, but here I'm like pushing his data to his spreadsheet. Okay. I'm not just getting all the data.
I did the master one and pushed the individual set data. So I did a query or something, just like Ashbrook High School to a new tab, and then I only pulled from that tab.
Correct.
So it's okay.
Now, I have ran into issues with the import range with it not updating properly. Okay. And that's another reason why I used a script and set it up on a 5-10 minute interval or an hour or something like that, is because there have been times that the import range hasn't gotten the most up-to-date data. Okay.
John, can that Seahawk, can that be a variable?
Yeah, it can be a variable to be whatever you want it to be. You can set it up however you need it to be. So it can be a variable further up in your script to say, you know, what was the user instead of actually having it typed in there if you wanted to. Any other questions? So, what was the multiple tracking system here? Oh! So I was actually here. Yeah, it was here in Pitt. Had a assistant principal that was moved, or was an athletic director that moved into an assistant principalship. One of the things that he had an issue with was tracking forms. Do students have their physicals, or do they not? So one of the things that we set up with him was a tracking system that went through and done date tracking. Have they got their physical? Or is it going to expire? If it's set to expire in 30 days, 0 days, 20 days, whatever the case, it would pull that data. Same type of thing here. And it would pull that based upon in 0 days their physical is going to expire. One of the other things that we had was FormEmailer set up to where it would send an email letting the parents know 30 days out, hey, your son's physical is set to expire in 30 days. Please make sure you get this updated and send us information. Then at 7 days, it would send another notification out. In 7 days, your physical is going to be expired. 0 days, your son or daughter is not eligible to play sports effective tomorrow. And this one does have the documents in the background that you can go take a look at. So sports physical tracking system. And you'll see the master sheet and then the 0, 30, and 5 day notices to where you'll be able to track those different types of things. And the FormEmailer's in there so that you can see the FormEmailer, the sending of the emails and everything along those lines as well. So CSV Import. You've got data that you get out of PowerSchool, okay? You got CSV file data that you want to have directly brought into Google Drive on a daily basis. You could have it saved to a Google Drive export and then be able to actually import that data into different areas. Places that I've used this, we've used this to where we get an extract out of your Google Drive. It comes into Google, the admin console of all of your users. It comes in to a CSV file. We import that CSV file into Google so that we can then turn around and create a contact form. A lot of districts, you list people's email addresses on your website. Spiders find the email addresses and then you get pounded with spam. So what we do with this, Mount Airy City Schools, we actually did this, use this there to get all of their data out of their Google Drive. It tells the school, not the Google Drive, out of their admin console. It tells the school that they're at and the person's name and email address. That in turn comes into this spreadsheet via this import script that updates a Google form. Using FormRanger, you can tell it, okay, I want you to pull this listing of teachers for this school and everything along those lines. So then every day it pulls the information out of their Google domain and updates the spreadsheet. So teachers coming and going, leaving the district, coming into the district, all of this gets dynamically updated, and this form is listed on their website to where they're able to say, I want to contact the teacher at XYZ school. They choose the school, they choose the teacher, they fill out the information that they want to send to the teacher, they hit submit, it emails the teacher receives an email, says, oh, well, parent so-and-so wants to meet with me. They can respond to it and email back with the parent. A lot of neat things that you can do with that without listing your email addresses online. I've got another school, it's an individual school that utilizes a Google form for that type of thing. And for them, they knew their teachers were being contacted, but until we went live with that, they didn't know how much their teachers. This is a small K-8 school that had over 600 and some entries in it. So, it's being used on a regular basis. We just went through last week, wiping out last year's entries so that they're ready for the next school year to start up in a couple of weeks. So, a lot of neat things that you can do with that. Newsletters. There's a script available that if you create newsletters, this one will actually do the language. Parents can go out to a Google form, say they want to opt in and opt out of the newsletter. They say they want to opt in. Then the script will actually turn around and sends an email to them and will code it in English and Spanish and things along those lines to send the weekly newsletters out to them. There's directions if you're interested on using it. And the script down here, you'll see it sends an email with the Gmail send mail. It sends an email to the parents or whoever signed up via the Google form to send them information. So scripts and add-ons. I'm going to take you in and look at this here in just a second, but that will take you to a Google document that I've got created. It gives you a lot of information about what each one will do, how you can access them, and things along those lines. So a cheat sheet. Highly recommend you create a cheat sheet for how to do different types of things. Now this one will take you to my cheat sheet, and I'm going to give you guys this presentation before you leave so that if you want to use it or whatever. So this is a Google document that I keep that has a cheat sheet of scripts that I use sort of on a regular basis to do different types of things. My send an email on a form submit, to where when they hit submit form, it sends an email to them. Get a column name, things along those lines. This one is off of my help desk system. Send a status update email. I can't remember his name. He was just in this class a few minutes ago. Chris. Chris was showing me they're still using the help desk system that we set up in Gaston for their power school coordinators at all the schools. They have their own little help desk system that we created with the Google Forms and everything. This is one that they can send email updates. They update information in a spreadsheet, and it will send email updates to them, letting them know what's been done. The menu items. So if you wanted to build menu items inside of your email to where it would pop up here next to your help, it would be a menu item custom that you could build. You want to schedule an appointment. I've used this one with the calendar invite system, to where it would send a calendar invite to somebody based upon the time frames that you've listed in your deal. Somebody's already found it. There's one more I wanted to show you guys. The double submission script is listed inside of here as well, to where you can go in and get that double submission. And I've got some others that I need to get dropped in there here shortly. So if you want to learn how to script, this book, you can get it online. The O'Reilly Google Script book is available online that you can get and read if you want to. Make sure you're not tired when you go to read it, because it is all scripting, how to do different types of things. Google Script is based off of JavaScript and how you can go and create those different types of things and being able to add them in. Now, how many of you are familiar with add-ons? Google add-ons. Which add-ons do you guys use?
Autocrat.
Autocrat? Doctopus. What else? I gotta look at them all. So some of the add-ons that I want to talk about that I use on a regular basis. These are also scripts on the back end, but they're add-ons that you can use in your environment. Flubaroo, going out, setting that up to grade your test. You can grade your test with it, do whatever the case is that you want to do. Doctopus. What are you guys using Doctopus for?
I use it for it's an application system for alternative education when a student needs to go there. So they provide all their supporting documents, their caseload, pedigree information, and then that way they have a standard piece of information that goes to the director and then also the board to review it to see if they're going to meet upon that case.
Okay. So where you're bringing in all the Google Docs into one area, and or are you allowing them to submit PDFs?
Yeah.
Okay.
All that type of stuff with it, and then I send out the email with it based on like the last question is what supporting documents are you going to be providing, so then that way it meets with all the standards that they have to have, and it's nice. It's
How easy was Doctopus for you? I got a lot of folks that are, once they start looking at it, they're scared of it.
Once I figured out to hit caret, and then copy and paste the title out of whatever was in there, minus apostrophe, the apostrophe, to get rid of the apostrophe, because for some odd reason, when you would put that in the merge tag, it would not function correctly. So I had to take out punctuation in anything that I did. So once I did that, I mean, it runs like a champ now.
Interesting.
I really like it, actually. I just tell the person that is over it, don't touch it.
Don't touch it, just use it.
Just enjoy it, yes.
Mail merges. You do mail merges, anybody? Somewhat, maybe? Mad Libs with students. Creating the stories, Mad Libs, things like that. Yet another mail merge is a neat one. It's an easy one to do, a lot like Autocrat. It does a lot of the exact same things and everything. So you've got split names. This one will separate out your columns and do it automatically for you. Somebody gets first, middle, last name. It comes in. It splits it out across your cells in the document. So.
Do you use Power Tools?
The
split name, but then also allows you to uncapitalize and all that fun stuff.
So Power Tools has about 4 or 5 different add-ons all built into it to use all at one time. Great little thing to being able to do it. If you are a Google Apps administrator on your domain, and if you're not, you can talk to somebody that is, but Sites Catalog goes out and pulls every Google site off of your domain so that you're able to know, are teachers creating their site? Are they updating their sites? And things along those lines. To be able to see their sites, the information, and everything. Red flags going off, right? Especially for districts that are embracing Google Sites for their district. So, all right, so the Power Tools that he was talking about. This gives you several different tools all in one. All of which can be done with formulas, but they give it to you in a nice graphical interface to where you can click, click, click. This is what I want done. Great little tool to be able to take in there and use. I hate blank rows in my documents, okay? Because it adds space that I don't need in there. So I go in, I delete any columns that are extra, any rows that are extra, delete them out, get rid of them. You can use a add-on if you want to that will do it for you, or you could do it manually. Site Maestro. If you are doing templates for your teachers, Google Sites templates, you can pre-build it build the site, share it with all of them, pre-create all of their sites, or your students. You're doing a portfolio for students, build out a template of what they need, and then create all of their sites and transfer ownership to them with Site Maestro.
How long does that take?
As far as
Building it out, because I think I'm going to do it for a school, building a digital portfolio. I'm going to start ninth grade and then move forward with it. So, I mean, probably talking about 150 students.
you do it in a couple hours.
And is that better than submitting a template and having the template available like in the Grasshopper or in our domain? There's templates available there.
The difference, you're then relying on the student to go click, get it, and then getting access to it. Here, you're producing it to them and pushing it to them for them to have access.
So it transfers ownership to them?
Correct.
Do I still have ownership to be able to see it?
You
what's the
still
back
have edit access to it, or you can have multiple owner access to it, to where with a Google site, you can have multiple owners.
Yes.
So then multiple people have all access to it, where in other things you don't. So I've tinkered with Lab Scheduler, have not used it in a production environment, but it allows you to schedule your blocks of time with teachers who has access to schedule the computer lab and being able to do those types of things. And it ties in with your calendars as well. I've been tinkering with that one here recently. Come on, where are you at? My favorite ones. So copy down. There are some Google formulas that will not copy down in a form situation to the next rows. Copy down helps out with that, so you can tell it, my main formula is in row number 2, and for each new line that comes in on the Google form, I want you to perform this action. It will go down your document and do it for you as each line is submitted. You've got to be careful with it. If you start using Formule with it, it has a tendency, one or the other will stop on occasion if you're using both of them in parallel. And that's happened to me on a couple of different documents. If you're a SurveyMonkey user, this is actually just recently added in to where you can actually go get your SurveyMonkey data and bring it into a Google Sheet. I used to tell folks all the time, why do you use SurveyMonkey when you can use Google Forms for your surveys and get the data real time? Now with this SurveyMonkey add-in, you can actually go import your data from SurveyMonkey to be able to see and manipulate your data and being able to see the different pieces. Great little new add-on that's just recently been added. All right, Autocrat. We talked a little bit about Autocrat, or you mentioned that you're using Autocrat. This is the one that I use to be able to merge with PDFs and do different types of things. I receive data from a form. I need to have it pre-populate in a document to give out to individuals. Pre-populates in the document in my Google Doc, and then you can email it to somebody, as a PDF if you wanted to. Email it to them as a PDF or as a Google document and be able to let them see it. Great tool there. Chromebook Inventory. I'm actually doing a webinar on this next week if you have anybody in your school districts that are interested. So Chromebooks are taking off by storm in North Carolina. There are over 242,000 Chromebooks in North Carolina. I thought there were only about 150,000, but turns out there's closer to 250,000 in North Carolina. Districts are buying them like left and right. So in order to manage your Chromebooks, you have to go in, put information in there and things like that. The Chromebook Inventory app will actually bring them in, allow you to edit it in a spreadsheet, and push it back to your admin console. You must be a super admin in your Google domain or a Chromebook admin, but it allows you to do a lot of different types of things inside of it. Formule is probably my new favorite in creating emails. Now, emailing out different things. You can create up to 16 template emails in one Google Doc. So I receive a form. I need to send an email letting the person know I've received their form. I could also tell it to email over to somebody else, a copy of it, whatever the case may be, of the data. Now, with that, you can set it up to receive. You can set it up to only send if I've done something, only if it's been approved or denied or whatever the case may be. We can use Formule to send those emails. You can send up to 2,500 emails a day using Formule. There's one more I wanted to show you guys. I wish they were in alphabetical order.
You know, like the organized chaos they give it to you every time.
Yeah. I'll just search for it. Well, it's not in there the way that I want it. Right, did I already go through it? Oh, it's in the form side. In the form side, you have FormRanger. If you're familiar with FormRanger, it allows you to pull options out of a spreadsheet to post into your Google form. So I've got a question that says, you know, you want to sign up for the computer lab for this time frame, this time frame, and this time frame. Well, I could pull those options out of a Google spreadsheet to show when they're available, when they're not available, and things along those lines. And then I can update my spreadsheet rather than actually updating the form. Times that's handy. You can create options on a Google spreadsheet, give that spreadsheet access over to an individual without them having access to your form to edit the form. And then you automatically have FormRanger to pull those options into your document and manages that for you all automatically. That's what I use it for, to take care of those different options. Any questions? I know this probably wasn't exactly what you were planning, or may not have been what you were planning, but trying to go in and create scripts in 45 minutes is rough. We're actually working on trying to get a class going sometime during the fall on Google Scripts, a day and a half long class to teaching people how they can create scripts, and it would be recorded, archived, and everything along those lines. But we're still not quite there yet with ready to have that class. But hopefully we're going to be able to have that here in the near future. Any other questions? And of course the projector goes out right at this time. So if you have any other questions, I'll be here. Otherwise, my contact information